Three, 2, 1. We are live, and we are with the doctor of digestion and dining, the man who proves that there's the PT that's never settled for just okay. He is the man who says there is no quit in quist. He is Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben, how are you?
I'm good. Oh my goodness. Wow. It just keeps getting better every time I go on your show. It's like the introduction. I don't know.
You inspire me to new heights, Ben. You are the man.
Awesome.
How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm doing very well. Yes. Just trying to stay out of the cold and do some good work here in the fitness business. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. That brings up a question I have for you. I know you probably have your subject today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, why don't you lead with yours, and then I'm gonna go to mine later, because I usually hijack the show right away, and then you don't get.
So I just kind of wanted to start off our segment on. I was recently at a book club, and I think I've talked about this book before. I was kind of reading it for this club, and it was on a book called Good Energy, and the book is a great kind of like synopsis of all the concepts that have been kind of put out there in the past, but this author did a nice job of putting them all together of what are the different things that a human being needs to do to live a life that's full of energy, because many of us find, I hear this a lot, but that people are fatigued, they're tired, they don't have the energy to do it. I can't get off the couch, and the book was all about how do you create that energy in your life, and really all the concepts in the book are also the ones that lead to longevity as well, or the concept of health span. So how do I create a situation in which I am living my longest, healthiest life as well? So I thought it was really well done, but there was a couple of things that struck me. So at this book club, there's some physicians there, and there were some other health practitioners, and they were talking about how challenging it is to get people to do some behavior changes in regards to things like eating foods that maybe aren't as refined, or eating foods that don't have, added sugars, or trying to get away from foods that have chemicals in them, or getting away from products that we put on our skin that have chemicals, all those kinds of things. And it was interesting to me because there's kind of like two ways you can think about that. Like, how do we get Ozaukee County healthier? We could say, well, the administrators of the county, they could ban having certain substances in our grocery stores, or you could take the government approach, like, it's their responsibility to make sure these food dyes aren't in our Cheerios, and that added sugar isn't happening. And it was interesting to me that the group kind of really leaned towards that as the consensus of how do we change this. We have to wait for the people in charge to basically change it for us. And I really have a different thought on that. And I mean, no disrespect to the individuals in the room that were there. They're all very intelligent individuals. They were talking about the food lobby in Washington and all the things that were so hard for a normal person in America to eat a healthy diet or live a healthy life. But I personally think that all of us can create change. Like, Jack, you're creating change by having this radio show where you have health topics on it. All of us create change, and that we can really do it more from a bottom-up standpoint, meaning that, like, individuals in the community like myself who have fitness businesses, we have thousands of customers at our fitness businesses, really, I can create change. Or one of the doctors there is a lifestyle doctor. She's creating change. Like, can't we create it from the ground up? Or even individuals that adopt a healthier life that then talk to people about it, and then they change a couple people who change a couple people, where eventually you create this kind of more grassroots change, and I think it can happen that way as well. And I didn't want to contradict anybody in the room, so I didn't say anything. So
what? You're usually picking fights all the time. No, what's the matter with you?
My wife's telling me that I'm too intense sometimes. So I've been attempting to be a little bit less intensive on things. But I really feel, and then another topic was brought up too, and it was in the regards to how you feed your children. So, and it was like, whose responsibility is it to, and I'm going to ask you this question, because this was a question that was raised to the room of professionals, like, whose responsibility is it to make sure your children are eating good, healthy food? Jack, who would you say their responsibility falls on?
Well, depending on the age that they are. I mean, you have adult children, but
let's say children under the age of 12.
Okay, that's on the parents, man.
I know. It was kind of like a no-brainer.
Right.
Right. that's on you if you have a kid
Right.
in that age group. Like if you are
Right.
feeding them sugar in their breakfast, sugar in their lunch, sugar and
Happy
chemicals for
Meals.
dinner, Happy Meals, like it's on you as the parent. And you know, so it was interesting because again, it was, and the consensus in the room was really, you know, we need to change the school lunches and we need to do this, we need to do that, you know, and it again, I really feel like it starts in the home, you know, and it starts with us, you know, and when we start to do things like people like it's I've done some YouTube episodes on how many chemicals are in food lately. I did one on bread, you know, where I set a loaf of bread out that I got at Costco and I had it sitting out for 3 months and nothing happened to it. Like it didn't mold. You could have still eaten the bread. I knew there's got to be something wrong with that. That bread is Frankenstein bread. You can't eat that bread. And then I had from this different company that makes bread without dough conditioners, without any type of chemicals put in the bread to extend the shelf life or preservatives. That bread on 3 months, you should have seen it. It looked like a Technicolor Dream Coat or different color mold growing. It was actually kind of beautiful after 3 months. It was, you know, every color of the rainbow of mold, like it had kind of bloated up to this puffy, fat looking mushroom of multicolored. It was amazing what happened to the bread that didn't have all that stuff in there. But, you know, we need to support that company, the company that is getting fresh baked bread where they aren't putting in all that stuff. And their bread is maybe like $1 a loaf more expensive than the people putting all the crap in the bread. So like, vote with your pocketbook. Buy that bread. Don't buy the other bread. Start to look at the label. Start to see the things. And we can very quickly change the landscape if enough people start to adopt the change. Because the manufacturers of the product will catch on to it really fast. You know, like the gluten-free thing. Look how fast they caught on to that. You know, for whatever reason, everyone gripped onto that is like everyone should be gluten-free. You know, and suddenly there's a whole aisle in the grocery store of gluten-free products, right? You know,
Right.
we all have the power to change this stuff. But that means us doing a little bit of the work of reading labels, you know, and kind of checking things out, you know, so that we can start to support the people who are manufacturing the products that are trying to do the good work of getting America healthier.
Yes. You shocked me with that the doctors in the book club thought the government could help. First of all, I mean, go to any government meeting where you can sit in and you can see how things happen and how quickly they don't happen. They have so many other things to do, and I'm not even picking on them. It's just like, forget it. Besides, the power comes, like you just said, if you can organize into a movement. And I think, like with parents, and you mentioned school lunches, you know, if they would go to, if enough parents signed a petition, went to a school board, I mean, that's local enough where they have some control over it. They could affect change that way if someone really wanted to spearhead the thing and do it. I agree with you. The only way to do it is to vote with your pocketbook. That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I don't know how to shock people or try to get them to respond. You know, when you look at you know, certainly our adult population has taken a huge hit from what has happened. You know, and you look at the large government bodies, so they put out a food pyramid that is complete bull crap, right? You know, they basically tell everybody eat all the wrong foods. All those politicians are in the back pocket, the people that work at, you know, that are the decision makers on what stuff is going in your food. Many of those people have been bribed off. They're not, you know, they are 100% not working for you anymore. They are, you know, unfortunately, it is what it is. Like we wouldn't have different products that being shipped to Europe because Europe won't allow any of the crap that we're putting in our food here. But here it's fine. Like we'll put it in the carcinogens in that food. We'll put in the hormone disruptors. Let's put in the obesogen type items in the food. We don't care. Let's put that in the food for Americans. But then you look at it and like, you know, the amount of obesity in childhood age kids, the amount of kids that are becoming diabetic at this point, that would have been like an incredible rarity, you know, 30 years ago that a kid would get diabetes.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's happening like, oh my gosh, there are kids all over the place getting it, you know, and it just has to stop, you know, and it's very frustrating. I'm about to get fired up.
I know this might even fire you up more.
Okay.
You've mentioned this before for both food and wine. What is it about Europe versus America? Why are they able to do this and we seemingly can't? You know what I mean? Why? What? And I know Europe is many different countries. I
Yeah.
get it, but you can pick one country. It doesn't matter. Um, why is that, Ben?
I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess it's the different political situation and what the people want in those different countries. But yeah, you're right. Those countries are older than ours, right? You know, most
Right.
of them. And so, like, why have them been able to get it together a little bit better or be
Right.
a little bit more concerned about the health of their populace? Where here in America, I know why they want to put dye in wine. I know why they want to put preservatives in bread. I know why they want to do all those things from a money making standpoint. But if it causes cancer in the person that you're then the person that drinks that or eats that, like, it just, you can't do that. That is
Right.
just, it is so unethical to do that kind of stuff. It actually shocks me that, I mean, who are these lobbyists that are like, hey, I'm getting up today, I'm going into Washington, I'm going to lobby the senator to put carcinogenic things into the food, you know, or you're like, who does that? Who wakes up in the morning? Here I go, like I'm going over that.
It's not my problem.
That's
You
what I
you,
do. And I
you
make
wonder.
tons of money, and then I go to take my big trips, and I get to fly all over the place because I make all this money. Like, how do you lay down at night and you're like, I've done a good day's work. I've gotten all these chemicals to still be allowed to be in the food. I can just lay my head down. I can rest. My bank account is fat and healthy. You know, it's just like,
So are my
the people,
customers.
the decision makers on this stuff. Like, how does that person who's in charge of, like, the chemicals that go in the food, you know, for us, you know, whatever organization at the FDA or whoever's doing that stuff, they then allow that, you know,
Right.
or they take money for it. It's just like, my gosh, like, this is like, blows my mind, you know, because I could never do that. I wouldn't want to make 1 cent off of something where it harmed another person, you know, and I guess it's probably why I picked the career field I'm in. But, you know, it's like, but there are people who are doing that stuff for money. Like, I mean, they're very convincing. These are smart people, you know, that are doing this stuff. And I don't even understand how how do they go around their daily lives and, like, you know, like, here I
Maybe.
go.
Well, maybe they're willfully ignorant of it. They don't want to know. You know, they don't want to know the damage they're causing. That'd be the only. And that's still.
You're being way too nice. You're being way too nice.
That's no excuse, even if you were. But the, you know, I don't know the answer to that. I see behavior and I think, how does that happen? How does anybody do
Yep.
that? I I don't know the answer to it, but I don't know. It seems it just, how can, America for so long was on the cutting edge of so many things, and still, there's Silicon Valley, and we're still
Yep.
in a lot of ways, even though our numbers aren't like they used to be, but we still have a lot of innovation going on here.
Yeah. Yep. It's an
Um,
amazing country.
why, if we have that innovation, how can we be behind anybody else in something that's so critical
So,
to?
so basic, like putting cancer-causing agents in our food and our cosmetic products and the things. Yeah, I get it. I don't know, and I think some of it is that we are allowing it as a society. Like, I even struggle with this with my own family, my own relatives, and things where I will make a statement about something, like, or even like we've talked many times about that Yucca app. That
Yep.
there is now an app that last time I looked, it was free, or it might
Yep.
be a very, very small fee,
Yep.
where you can basically scan in any product, and Yucca is spelled Yuka, in case anyone wants to download the free app. You can scan any product in the grocery store or any cosmetic product on the shelf, and it will tell you if there are any harmful chemicals in that product. So there's like no excuse anymore. You just scan the product. If it comes up bright red on the Yucca app, you put that one down, you move on to the next product, the next
Right.
moisturizer. How does this one look? Okay, well, this one's a little better. I'm going to buy this one. And then you've done your job of voting with your pocketbook, because the product that had the stuff in there that wasn't good for you, you're not buying. So you're not supporting that company, So,
Right.
but yeah, I'm not sure. And part of it is consumer, that we as consumers are not being savvy enough. And a lot of the illnesses and the things that happen from eating the products or doing these things take years and years and years for the actual disease to manifest. So that cancer that you get in your 40s, or that, the obesity that hits your child at age 12, they start to gain tons of weight. Like, it happens over such a long period of time. It's almost like you don't notice it. Like, you're the frog in the water that's slowly raising to the boiling temperature, and the frog never jumps out and gets boiled. Like, that's what's happening to us, and we are willfully allowing it. And it just, I just think we need to start to take back our food sources, our, all that kind of stuff, and not be okay with these people who are allowing this stuff to come into our like to poison our populace. Like it just is not okay.
Yeah. And not even, diabetes in children or anyone is terrible. But even if you have a child that doesn't have any of the diseases related to anything yet, but even then, it's not a great childhood if they're waddling. I mean, I'm not making fun. I mean, if you can't physically keep up with the other kids, I mean, kids are pretty merciless at any age, and they're not, really mean and exclude you from a game, the games. I mean, it's like a fulfilling prophecy because you're excluded and you spend more time on your own, and then it's just not a good thing. And as a parent, that's got to be, you have to say, what's wrong with this picture? We're doing something wrong here, and we'll work on it together to get this rolling, to get this going. I don't know.
Or what school administrator is allowing candy vending machines and soda machines to be in a school? Like, if I was running a school, first thing I would do is take those machines and go throw them in the trash can. Like, take those out. No child should be drinking soda. I mean, like, no adult should be. No one should be drinking soda at all. It should never be consumed. It's one of the worst. 64 grams of added sugar in one little can. Like, that's insanity. That's like the amount of sugar someone, before soda was invented, they take that in like in a whole year. It's like we're taking it all in one fell swoop. Whoosh, it's just incredible that this is even allowed or it's even happening. But and it's just standing up and doing the right thing. Like, I don't know. Like I see it in the school my kid goes to, like, the lunches that are served, or the picnic, where they come together and they eat all the food, and like, oh my God.
Or we've talked soccer, the treats.
Soccer, the treats after the games. And I don't mean to rant on this stuff, and my wife tells me to shut up about this all the time, but her and I probably fight about this more than, that's our main conflict in our marriage, is like, what are we feeding our children? And sometimes I win and sometimes she wins, but
right. But I don't know, Ben. It's not, and it's not, what do I say? I don't have an optimistic view for the immediate future for it. That's the biggest thing. It seems like the awareness, whether it's willful or not, is just not there, that this can be affected. You can't, a kid's overweight, you don't just go, well, they're overweight. Right. What are you going to do? They're a kid, they'll grow out of it. Maybe not. No.
And I think, it all comes with, we have control over what we put in our own body, right? So we can take control of what foods we are eating. And then as a parent, we have some control over our children's diets. We just got to start the ripple effect. We start to get some of this stuff out of the situation, and then the manufacturers stop making it. Whenever they talk about something where they're trying to addict you to it, like they're trying to addict you to this particular food by making just the exact right amount of like fat and added sugar, and chemicals, salt, like things like that, to make sure that you get addicted to the product. That's not good. Like, we shouldn't be talking about ways to trick people into like getting them addicted to, some type of snack food. Like,
right.
That's another thing. Like, who's the guy or the gal or the individual at the food manufacturing plant? He's like, I'm the chemist that's going to get everyone addicted to this totally crappy food. These people are going to, here I go into my job. I know this food's killing people, and I do this job, and I get paid a lot of money for it. Like, how does that person get up in the morning? Like, go in and be like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get everyone addicted to these particular crackers or this chip or this, it boggles my mind that anybody does that job, that chemist goes in there and is like, hey, like, how does that person wake up in the morning, again, to put that question forward, like, and do that job? Like, I mean, my gosh. My people get America addicted to the worst food they possibly can eat. That is awful for them, that will cause them to die decades younger than they should, of horrific diseases that sometimes cause their limbs to be amputated. Like, that's what I do.
Wow. I don't know. there's no answer, Ben.
There's no answer.
I mean, I'm glad I can't answer. If I knew, I'd be saying,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm sorry if anybody's friend works for, Kraft Food or something that is that scientist that does that. I don't mean, I apologize. I know it takes a lot of skill to get people addicted to certain products, so I don't mean to like bash you at all. I'm sure it took a lot of education to figure all those complex chemical reactions and different things for the human body to, get on that, that high from that product, whatever. So.
Okay. There's no quit in Quist. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. Gosh. And don't ever quit. I mean, I think the thing to do is anybody who's successful at anything, you just have to have the persistence. You just can't stop. If you know what you're doing is right, and this is career advice, it's doing the right thing advice, you just can't stop. You can't be discouraged. It's a long game, and you gotta stay after it. You gotta keep making people aware of it. That's the thing we can all do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I mean, it's great. I mean, and I am very lucky to be in the career field I am, where I can hopefully help influence people towards healthier choices that will make their lives better. Yeah. I feel, and that's why I don't intend on ever retiring. I'll be doing this for as long as people continue to come into my facilities, and trying to help them make changes for the better. But it's a wonderful thing to do. And even if, you aren't a personal trainer or you aren't somebody in the health industry, like, you can still influence your friends and family to make small changes to make things better. And the things we've talked about all the time, just look at the added sugar on the label of the food that you're buying. If it has added sugar in it, don't buy it. That is probably like the number one tip. The other one is, if you look at a food label and you see a gazillion other chemicals in there and words you can't understand or that your grandma would have never seen in her food, don't buy it and don't eat it. If you do those two things, like, you're going to make yourself so much healthier.
And the thing is too, I think people think if they do that, they won't find any food that tastes good.
Yeah.
And it's you may have to relearn how you prepare food, or how to pick it out, or what you like or what you don't like. But there's a lot of good food that's good tasting too.
Yeah, totally. And it's almost like an adventure when you go on that journey of getting off of highly processed foods with lots of sugar and chemicals in them, which really isn't. We've talked about this before, and I can go on an entire rant about how you're eating. That's not even food anymore. It's like Frankenstein creations out of but it's actually a really cool journey to rediscover what real food actually tastes like. For example, like, many times it's like, well, it's really hard to find anything to eat for breakfast. For breakfast, you could do a quarter cup of almonds with an apple. Like, that could be something that, right there, there's no chemicals, there's nothing artificial or weird. You're getting some fat and protein and fiber in the almonds, and you're getting all kinds of good things in the apple. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. And sometimes you find, like, gosh, I really do like the taste of a raw almond. It didn't have to be, roasted in a bunch of seed oil and salted up to the point where,
right.
3,000 milligrams of sodium in one handful. Real food tastes good.
Yep. Yeah. And you're right. And a lot of it is just like, it's not common sense because we're brought up, I don't know, but you're right. So I think the thing to do is you just got to keep hammering away, Ben.
Yep.
I mean, you've opened my eyes to a lot. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm so much more aware now. I'm like, you start thinking about all the things. The first thing is to think about what you're putting in your mouth.
Yep. Yeah, the author of the book, Good Energy, which is a great book if ever anyone wants to, it was written by a physician. She basically became disillusioned with being a physician in the conventional health system, which actually, I guess from reading her story, was actually pretty interesting, that physicians have a pretty high suicide rate. I had no idea. I never know that. But
right.
They're pushed pretty hard, and many times they're going into the field because they want to help people get better, and they realize that all they're doing is managing sickness, and a lot of the strategies they're using are causing people to, maybe not make the changes that are necessary. We're just putting a Band-Aid on something, on a symptom, so it can be very disillusioning to them.
Huh.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. That's interesting. I never heard that either about doctors with a high suicide rate at all.
That's what she had in her book. I didn't verify that fact, but she had written that in her book, and she made that transition into opening a clinic where now she just works on lifestyle things with her patients. Which she wrote a great book, so it's a really good read.
Cool. When are you writing your book?
I think I was just talking to Jeremiah about that today. I've been really kind of like waffling around. I was writing one on diet and I got about halfway done on that. And I've kind of switched focus. I'm going to be switching to a book on exercise strategies. So basically a book for a beginner, if they want to get involved with exercise, that gives them detailed lists of exactly what they should do. I feel like this book was a good example of that. She had a summary of like exercise. She's like, well, you should strength train 2 times a week and you should get your heart rate above 60% for 150 minutes a week. And she had a couple different, but then it's like for the beginner, well, what does that really mean? Well, it means get on a treadmill, hit the start button. There's these silver handles. You hold the handles and that will give you your heart rate. To create 60% of your heart rate, take 220 minus your age times it by 60. And that's the number you want to get up to. Like, people need more details, like a step by step. So I'm going to kind of do a paint by numbers, how to get fit for life kind of book, but it's going to have tons of different programs that people can do depending on where they're at. So that's what I'm thinking of for our first book that we're going to actually complete.
Excellent. For it to be effective, it has to be actionable. And it's the same thing like self-help of any kind, where all they do is get you charged up with a positive attitude. I can do anything, but don't give you specific steps on how to use that knowledge. You lose all of it. You just go back to what you were doing or some version of it. So that's great if you can put
the
together
devil's in the
practical
details, right?
Yep.
So so that I just thought I've not seen anything like that in the marketplace. Like, it doesn't seem like that exists. So I think it'd be something that'd be beneficial.
And the thing is, Ben, no matter what your idea is, someone's going to say, "Oh, well, I saw that somewhere else." It's always your unique, the Quist twist. How do you like that? I just gave you a new one. The Quist twist.
Yes. You put your own unique stamp on it, and
and that does it. And which brings me now. I'm going back to the question I wanted to start with, and I'm glad we went there, because I've been thinking about with the weather. It was down to 6 degrees wind chill, and then it's going to be up to 50 on Sunday. People who like to exercise outdoors, is there first of all, 2 questions? Is there a temperature you just say forget it, you shouldn't be out there, the air is not, your body can't handle that cold of air, you shouldn't be out there when it's just, is there such a temperature, Ben, as that, or not?
I think that's different for every person. If you're young and vigorous, versus someone who's 80 years old, that temperature might be very different. The thing that worries me the most about people exercising outside, sometimes even young people, but especially people over the age of 50, which I'm in that category now, unfortunately. So I'm not downing on it. It's just like it happens to us all. We're all getting old. Is the ice and the snow and slipping and falling, so that concerns me bigger than, like my mom, who she's 80 now, almost 81. Like, I don't let her walk outside. Well, I try to stop. I can't physically stop her, but like, I strongly discourage her from walking outside in the winter when it's snowy or icy out, just because I worry about a fall and a broken bone and that kind of thing. So, but like temperature wise, I think everybody can kind of define that for themselves. You kind of know when it's too cold, right?
But okay, then the other thing I was going to ask you, and you even mentioned this, not knowing it, if you do go outside in the winter, whether you're skiing like you like to do, or walking or jogging, what do you recommend, or do you recommend anything for putting on your face and your lips and stuff for like a moisturizer or protector, anything like that off the, is there anything that you have, or do you say you just have to use the app and look at it and decide for yourself?
You mean, okay, is there a good one that's not bad?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So like, it's funny, like, one of the categories of products that have the worst chemical profile are sunscreens. So, I would highly recommend trying to find a sunscreen that doesn't go bright red on yucca, because it's like, it's funny, like the chemicals they put in those sunscreens are not great, and your skin is your largest organ. It absorbs that stuff. It comes right, you put something on your skin, it's going to go into your bloodstream. Like a lot of medicines are transdermal patches. They pop on you, and that's how the medicine is in, right? So yes, I have some sunscreens that I have been using that use a different I think it's zinc oxide or something. It's not ideal. Like, some of those products, there's a reason why no one likes them, because they're chalky and they're, they're hard to get to go into your skin versus a nice, creamy chemical laden sunscreen that is just, immediately goes in, and so I don't know. I just use that app, and I try to find
Okay.
one,
So the Yucca app is really good.
it's
Okay.
fantastic. I mean, there's no way I can know all of the bad chemicals, or you can. I mean, unless you're like Rain Man, like like Rain Man of the chemical world. Like there's
Yep.
so many of them,
Yep.
but that's what they've done. And now I think it's been a great public service that they put that app together. That it allows us to then be able to kind of take advantage of their knowledge base.
Cool. All right. And I've got to give you in Form and Fitness kudos. A friend of mine just started attending Form and Fitness, and he was. I was talking to him. I work with him. He's a graphic designer. We worked with for years.
Yeah.
He's a little older, but not much, and he's in good shape. But the thing that he said, can we do it after I just joined your gym, and I'm getting this part of my joining up is I get trained on how to use the machines.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, you know what, that is an overlooked thing, because people are so intimidated, not only about the atmosphere, but how do I use this machine? What do I use? And that's part of your membership at Form and Fitness. When you first join up, you have someone, the trainer, take him around. He knew Rock was taking him. And I said, "Oh, good luck with Rock."
Good luck with Rock. Yeah.
But I said it's a great thing, but that's an overlooked benefit that you offer. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Most gyms will offer like one session with a trainer to show you around. Like usually that's a sales tool where they're then going to try to sell you personal training. That's kind of a line in the sand. We very early on when we did this, we offer 3 sessions with a trainer, because it takes more than one session for a trainer to actually kind of get you rolling. Mm-hmm. And I always tell the trainers, I don't care if they buy training with you or not, you do your absolute best effort to get that person a program that they are independently confident with, so they actually will specifically design a program for the new member, and for maybe a member who's a little bit older, who doesn't have as much experience, that might consist of 4 strength training machines, and then how to use a recumbent bike. A member that is already pretty fit, it might be a very well-designed program that they give the person, take them through a couple times. So, that's something that I'm proud that we offer that, and that it's free with our membership. But, and we have a fantastic staff of over 30 personal trainers that are all great, that lead the customers through that, so that they have their best chance of ingraining daily movement as something into their lifestyle.
Very much. It's very cool. I just, it's something that I knew you've done, but until you just said it, I've got this appointment, I thought, oh, God damn, that's great. That's really cool.
It is. It's a good, and probably the best review we ever got on Google was this woman, and this was probably like 15 years ago. She's like, it was the only gym I've ever joined, and she had moved away, and she's like, I'm writing this review even though I now live in like Utah or whatever. It was the only gym I've ever been a part of where they actually legitimately tried to help me when I got started, and I that did my heart good. I'm like,
bet.
There's only a certain amount of resources that go around, when you're starting a new member, but at least I feel like we're doing the absolute best we can with the resources we have to get that person going.
Yep. Okay, cool. Anything, speaking of the gym, you got any year-end promotions coming up or any holiday stuff?
I know we got like half off enrollment right now. We got just some different price, things going on. That kind of an interesting thing happening in, I think it's either February or March. We're bringing a kind of a competition to Form and Fitness called the DECA Challenge, which is a way that people can kind of measure their fitness level, but it's a challenge that is actually national. It's part of the Spartan Challenge with Reebok. So it's kind of cool. Like we just signed up to be a DECA gym, but we are going to be having that available for members to participate in, where they can, get kind of ranked across the entire country in this fitness measurement, which would kind of be fun for some of the more competitive members and whatnot. Yeah. We're going to be getting that rolling in March. So I expect you to be competing in that with Jack. I'll be in there as well. Even in the old guys, the movements aren't like they're dangerous or hard. It's just, who can do them faster and with more weight, I guess, so it's like, so.
Very cool. That's cool. I mean, people are thinking about all that stuff because I saw my first thing with the things you want to accomplish in 2025. It's that becoming that time of year before you know it. We're after Thanksgiving. We're heading into the deadly
New Year's
duo of
resolutions
Christmas.
and all that stuff. Playing out your year. Totally.
Okay, cool. Well, good to hear. Well, thanks for joining. It's good to see. I know you've missed me, so
I miss you every week. I'm not able to come on. I do feel like it's a hole in my heart.
yeah, you are something. All right, next week we'll be back with another thing. I think Good Energy. It's a great book to check out. Um, people do. I mean, there are days I'm like, God, I'm just dragging. And I think, what else can I do? And there are things you can do. So,
Yeah, it's amazing when you apply all those principles from the book. It's an amazing difference in how you feel. It really is. So
very cool. All right, well, have a great energetic weekend, Ben. I'm sure you'll be
You too,
running those
Jack.
kids around. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. It's going to be warmer, so you can get outside a little bit too. So, everybody have a great, safe, exercise-filled weekend. Right?
All right. We'll see you soon.
No quit and quist, man.